The Charlotte Ledger Podcast is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network.
Hi, this is Lindsay Banks with the Charlotte Ledger, and you're listening to the Charlotte Ledger Podcast. You can find out more about the Charlotte Ledger by going to thecharlotteledger.com. Today's episode is sponsored by South Park Community Partners, an independent nonprofit organization whose mission is to lead South Park's advancement by driving economic vitality, creating memorable experiences, and ensuring an extraordinary quality of life. Visit southparkclt.org and follow South Park Community Partners on LinkedIn and at South Park CLT on Instagram and Facebook to learn more about the ways South Park supports the Charlotte region's economy. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Bob Durkin. Bob is the co-founder of Southern Entertainment, along with Rob Pedlow. Southern Entertainment is a full-service event and production company based in Charlotte. They've been responsible for over 500 live music events across the country. You might have heard of the Carolina Country Music Fest in Myrtle Beach. That's thanks to Bob and Southern Entertainment. Bob, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation because it's coming at a great time. You and Southern Entertainment are gearing up for Charlotte's first Lovin Life Music Fest. It's going to be held on a 20-acre site in the First Ward neighborhood in Uptown from May 3rd to May 5th. Just looking at the lineup of artists, we've got Post Malone, Stevie Nicks, Kahan. We also have DaBaby, who's from Charlotte, the Abbott Brothers, which are also North Carolina local, the Beach Boys, Maggie Rogers, the Chainsmokers. I think it's about a total of 40 artists that are scheduled to take one of the three stages. This is going to be a huge event. Over 90,000 people are expected to attend over the course of the weekend. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this festival and your hopes and how it all came together. But first, I would love to know more about Southern Entertainment and how you got into the music festival planning business. I've heard that you got your start in Charlotte by owning a bunch of uptown bars like Dixie's Tavern and Have a Nice Day Cafe. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you for the intro there. That's our lives the last 20 or 25 years. We are excited. We're right around the corner from Lovin Life Music Festival, which has been a labor of love for several years for myself, my partner, and our whole company. So we couldn't be more excited to bring it to Charlotte, our hometown. And it's been our hometown for 25 years. Rob and I both originally from New York, but we were in the bar business in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And then we came down to Charlotte, sort of through Atlanta. And we ended up opening Bar Charlotte back in the late 90s. Have a Nice Day Cafe, if some people are old enough to remember. I'm dating myself here, and then Dixie's Tavern, Time Lounge. And so we really tried to create several concepts that complemented each other. So as we brought certain people down for one concept, we added another one that brought a different dynamic of people. And then when we ended up with sort of a mass of people, we had big events that were going on, and we started getting into the concert business. So the bar business was great for us, and we'd have big nights like Halloween or the 4th of July. And that's what came up. We came up with Uncle Sam Jam, if people can remember them back in the late 90s, and Gravedigger's Ball, which actually went on for more than 20 years out there outside Dixie's Tavern. And so all these big holidays, we would throw concerts around them. And then at the end of the concerts, they would fill up our bars and everybody else's bars downtown. And so that was sort of a mix between the bar business and into live music. And then as Uptown progressed and really grew, it was amazing to be part of it and to watch how that public-private partnership in downtown Charlotte just helped blow it up. And we were lucky to be part of that in the entertainment sector. So in about 2008, we ended up in the epicenter, and that sort of was our next evolution of nightlife, restaurants, and bars in Charlotte, which came along with another live music element. Our friend Larry Farber was our partner. We teamed up with him, and we did a Live After 5 on the rooftop, and then we did a concert series on the rooftop. And again, it had the same type of effect for us, which was really great, that people would come for the live music and they would end up in all of our bars. So that's kind of how we got into it. And that's how, we become to love Charlotte and really, be such a big part of the entertainment and nightlife of Charlotte.
So would you say that transition from uptown nightlife to music festivals was kind of gradual? Because it seems like live music was always a thread among that whole, the whole journey you just talked about.
Yeah, it was. And then I think the big transition was, we would have each different weekend and we have different managers, and there'd be certain weekends where we'd be a little bit slower than others. And some of our managers would say, well, everybody's at Bonnaroo or everybody's at Hangout Fest. And these were large scale music events that were 5, 6, 7 hours away from us. And so we couldn't believe that the draw that these things would have. So obviously being in the music business, 2015 was really where we made a big transition from the restaurant and bars into large scale music events when we started the Carolina Country Music Fest in Myrtle Beach. And that really was the first one that, we didn't know what to expect. In our first year, we started out with 13,000 people. And now fast forward 10 years, it's the fourth year of our sellout where we have about 37,000 people a year. So 2015 in the middle of the epicenter and all that was kind of when we made a big transition to large scale music events.
I do want to talk a little bit about the Carolina Country Music Festival. Looking at how you started, you just said it was about 13,000 people. So with this Lovin Life Music Festival, clearly that one's not going to be 13,000. The projected is 90,000. So I guess, where did the idea for Lovin Life Music Fest come from? What inspired you to bring it to the Queen City? And why have you decided to start this being the first one, so big? 90,000 people, the headliners are, very well-known artists. Everybody knows Stevie Nicks and Post Malone.
So I think, in Myrtle Beach is where we really sort of cut our teeth in the live music business. And there was a big learning curve there. We didn't know. We have a great team. Some of the people that have been with us for 20, 25 years, we all kind of realized things that we hadn't, and we got to learn within 2015 and say 2018 in Myrtle Beach. And so that helped us to be able to, we opened several more festivals since then. We started one in Wildwood, New Jersey, that has about 30,000 people. This year is Keith Urban, Luke Bryan, names like that. We're in Greenville Country Music Fest. So we started several others. And so our team got better at it, and it made us poised and ready to sort of make the jump to the multi-genre festival and then to bring it back to our hometown. For 5 years, 6 years now is when we've been talking about this. We did apply for a permit before the pandemic. Tark Bakari, of city councilman, he was a big proponent of it, really loves to bring things to Uptown, things that are game changers, things that have never been done before. And if everyone remembers, there was a Center City Fest that was 20 years ago that was very successful in Charlotte. We knew it because our businesses were successful. So we knew the kind of impact that this could have on the business community of Charlotte. We knew that what kind of impact it could have on the hotels. And Charlotte is, like I'd said before, the public-private partnership is very rare. In a lot of cities that we're in, there isn't as much support for the business community as you have in Charlotte. So we just thought that the time was right, that Charlotte being such a young city, one of the fastest growing cities, having an amazing downtown and having the support of both the private and the public, that it was ready, for a festival like this. And like you said before, we had conversations about starting off slow and seeing if we can grow into it. But then, after the pandemic and seeing how live music has taken off, we just decided that, we're going to go big or go home. And the amazing thing was the music community was 100% behind it. Like you said, Post Malone's coming, Stevie Nicks, who's a legend, and Noah Kahan is one of the biggest artists. And when we approached their camp, they were all overjoyed, excited about it, because they looked at the market and said, we love the Carolinas. It's great for us. And there is no event like this. So we'd love to support it. And then we hit the local corporate community. And I think they were very excited about it too, for what it could do for their brands, be associated with, music legends like that. And to sit right here in Charlotte where, there's so many, growing businesses, and even the biggest businesses have major plans for growth in Charlotte. So we just want to be a part of that. We're excited that it's been received so well. And we're really humbled about, how excited everybody is. And we couldn't be more thankful.
I'm curious, where did the name Lovin Life come from?
We had a few different names thrown out. I have a good friend of mine who's a big songwriter, and his name's Wyatt Durrett, and he's a wordsmith. And one of his big sayings was Lovin Life, man. He would say it all the time. And when someone tells you that, it means life is good. How are you doing? Lovin life. It means, every part of my life right now, I'm thankful, I'm blessed. And so that's the type of vibe. That's the type of thing we're trying to put out there to the community, that when you come to this, that's hopefully what's going through your mind and what it can make you feel like.
That's awesome. I love that. So I did want to ask a little bit, without getting too in the weeds. This is kind of a broad question, but I'm curious about everything that goes into planning a music festival, as far as like securing a location, especially in Uptown. I mean, I'm sure it required some coordination I think you already touched on it, from the city and the county and landowners. So how much work has gone into this? What are some things you've had to consider, been on your to-do list as far as this whole festival coming together?
Yeah, well, it has been, since the pandemic, but the real hard work has started, for the last 2 years. And like I said, there's several things we look for. Is obviously a great location, making sure that we can get the talent, making sure that the business community and the government is in full support of it, and making sure that our production can be at that level wherever the location is. And so we started feeling for locations that downtown and uptown Charlotte was really where we were focused on. I mean, you go all over Charlotte, there's big open areas out at, somewhere near the track or out by the airport, and nothing was as enticing as having that skyline behind us. So with working with everyone at the county, who has been great to work with, and Lovin Properties, we put together, I think, what's going to turn out to be an amazing location and venue site for the event. So the first thing was that location. And when we had the support of the local owners and the city, that's when we knew that this is something that we can do. And then the next big thing was to go get the talent. Like I said, we've had the relationship for the last 10 years with the big agencies and some of the big music management. And when we approached them with it and went and met with them, they all saw the same thing that we did: an amazing growing city that is prime and ripe for something just like this. So we're really excited that it could take place downtown and that we get that size talent. And then it was going out and hitting the business community, and the reaction has been fantastic. What we want Lovin Life to become in the fabric of what Charlotte is, how the Panthers are part of the fabric, and the Checkers and the Knights and and Charlotte FC, that those kind of brands that people just think synonymous with Charlotte, that down the road, Lovin Life will have that same type of effect. Then the next step was to put it out to the community. And so when we launched and put the tickets on sales, the community has really responded. It's really amazing how inundated we're getting with people thanking us for bringing it here, questions about how it's going to be. And our number one question is, you're bringing this back, right? And so that is our goal, to be here for a long time. But, we're excited that people are thinking that forward and that ahead. We haven't even had the first one.
This episode of the Charlotte Ledger podcast is presented by South Park Community Partners, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to lead South Park's advancement. How are ticket sales going? Are you able to share? How did you come up with that projected number? Where is that 90,000 coming from? And are we close to it yet with ticket sales?
So we have a lot of experience, obviously, in different markets, and understand what type of numbers each different artist can draw, as well as the combination, what they can draw. So we projected those numbers to be 25 to 30,000 people a day. And when we started and tickets go on sale, we track, every week how we're doing. And I'm happy to say we're above our projections. And with a little over a month to go, we'll definitely be at 25 to 30,000 people a day. So, there's a little bit of a science to it. And it's just from these last 10 years of working in the festival business, but we're definitely going to be able to expect 25 to 30,000 people. And
do you have any idea how many people are coming from out of town versus locally?
Well, the one thing that really helps, and I think the impact on the economy that we have, is the hotels, the restaurants, and the stores, and obviously people coming from out of town. But what's amazing to see is that we have a ton of people coming for staycations. People from Weddington up to, they got hotels downtown. I think we'll have probably 20%, maybe a little bit more, of people from out of town. But as the festival grows, that number will grow. We have sold tickets in all 50 states. And so we have people coming from California. We have people coming from New York. And a lot of that is because of the lineup, and mainly because of Charlotte. People have shared stories with how they've come to see their NFL team here, and how amazing the airport is, how amazing the hotels is. You can walk downtown. It's safe. It's beautiful. It's clean. The restaurants are great. And it's so great that we can rely on the reputation of the city to be able to help draw people, with some of this big talent. So I think we'll have a lot of people come in from out of town. And as you see this grow, we'll see more and more people come in from out of town.
You already touched on it a little bit, but is there any more that you know or can share about the impact on the local economy that this music festival is expected to have?
On a personal experience, I'm excited to see a lot of people that I've known, we've done business with. You can imagine We came here in 95 and 96 and opened up. So the inception of Center City Partners, the CRBA, Charlotte's got a lot. Those people of all people that we work with really closely with the epicenter. And so we kind of understand what things need to be done to affect the local economy. And a lot of the local hotels, obviously in the epicenter, there's 2 hotels there. Vinay Patel's a great friend. He has several hotels downtown. For these people that we work with for years, to be able to get with them, put ticket packages together, help put people in their hotels, and they're doing the same for us. We went to the Center City Partner meetings and we went to the HTA meetings, and the reaction we got, we didn't leave the room for 2 hours because everybody said, how can we help? We want this to be around for a long time. So, we came at it like, hey, we're coming, it's going to help you, and let's show you how it can help you. And they said, oh, we get it. When you bring all these people, it's going to help us. So we want to make sure you're here for a long time. So how they kind of turn the tables on us and everyone is so supportive is really something like special, like from a personal standpoint. That's because we went through some ups and downs in Charlotte with, 2016, and we've seen some amazing growth. And so to be working side by side with those same people that we worked with for 20 years on a personal note is really great. And I think on a business note, some of the new businesses that have shown up here, we're hoping they can just, help them for a weekend and then also just give more exposure to Charlotte. When people come, they can see how great the restaurants are and all the attractions, and then come back on another weekend. So we get a little bit more frequency of visitors. But that economic impact, I think, we have studies done in Myrtle Beach, and, we looked at Lollapalooza in Chicago, and their economic impact can be 50 million, 75 million. I think when we start here, we're projecting a 25 or $30 million impact. And I think it can only go up from there.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great to hear. So looking at the impact that this music festival is going to have on Charlotte's music scene, I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. So how would you describe Charlotte's music scene now, or maybe over the past 5-10 years? And then how do you think this music festival is going to affect Charlotte's music scene in the future?
I mean, I think Charlotte's music scene has been a phenomenal one, and some of it's been like hidden gems from the Muse and some of these smaller venues. We had places like the Double Door. I remember places like Middle Sea Jazz. And I think the Charlotte scene's been great, but it hasn't been able to, bloom like in Austin or some of these other cities where the music is a little bit more prominent, which obviously can bring an impact, but also I think a quality of life. It gives that entertainment side, and music heals when you're excited and you're celebrating. So all we want to do is help make it more prominent. Center City Partners started Conflux, and they just started that music initiative. So we're hoping to help to be part of that. And one of the big things that we're doing is we have a local stage. And so we have over 15 artists that are from the Charlotte area and region that we're going to be able to put on that day. And I think what it can do for those is give them more exposure. We'll be able to put it out on our social mediums, and then before the event, people will be able to listen to that music and hear them, and then hopefully come see them, and they'll be able to garner new fans. That's all these young artists are trying to do, is get exposure, get in front of people and have people to hear their music. And with the likes of Post Malone and Stevie Nicks, we have a platform we can do that. And so we'd be remiss if we didn't let every single local artist that we could get on that platform, expose them to music lovers, who our festival goers are. You mentioned it before, DaBaby and Everett Brothers are perfect examples of a small town like Charlotte that can go on the international scene. You can't get bigger than those guys. And they started here in Charlotte, but it was hard for them. And I've had several conversations with them about, and DaBaby said to me, I didn't have a festival like this to play when I was a kid, and I was trying to come up. So hopefully there is the next DaBaby, the next Everett Brothers, and we can give them that medium to get their music out there. And so I think that, the local stage is going to be something that's kind of special. We also have 2 local celebrity bands that I would say. Tark Bakari, our city councilman, he has a band he's put together called the 704. And he's talented. Some people laugh, but he played at Goldie's one day, and to see him put together some local guys, maybe a little bit older, to put in the band, is really fun and just entertaining. And then Larry Farber, who's a legend in the music scene in Charlotte, he's coming out with Farber and Friends, all local musicians, but these guys have played with some of the best in the world, and they're coming together. So those kind of local I think, special experiences, what the festival can provide is going to be exciting. The local other thing we're working, one of the charities we're working with is we try to help the local music programs in the local schools to help them with buying instruments, sheet music, or, music stands, whatever they need. So we're going to pick a couple local schools and we're going to donate some money to that music program.
Wow. So is that coming from ticket sales?
Yep.
Okay. That's awesome. Is it typical for music festivals to have a local stage?
A few of them do, but not all of them. Some of them have them. We've had real success, and we really like what it can do for the local music community. So it's a big part of what we do.
And I did want to ask too about, I assume planning such a large scale event festival, it's probably not all smooth sailing all the time. So I did want to ask about challenges maybe that you face, or is there anything, over this next month preparing for the music festival, anything else you have left to do?
It's endless what we have left to do is to, continue selling tickets. We've been doing site work over there to get it ready for, the elevations and sight lines and all those things. And that's a lot of work. And if anybody's familiar with what it looked like over there before we did the work and now, you'll see it was no small task to sort of level that out and make it perfect for sight lines for the festival. So that was a big undertaking, and one that we don't usually have to do. It's the first time we've had to really do site work, which was new for us, and getting a design and somebody who can move dirt and that. So that was new for us, but I think it looks amazing, and everyone's going to be happy with how it turned out. But yeah, now we have, like I said, we're still selling tickets and getting ready for the site. We literally built a small city in about a week. And so we're bringing in all the power. We have to bring in all the bathrooms, fence the opening lot, staging and production. We have the biggest stage you can get out there, which takes a week to build. So we're bringing all of our vendors. And most importantly, we work daily with the police and the fire, who in Charlotte, we've worked with them since, we've started our events here, and there's nobody better. And we've never worked with anybody better than the CMPD and the fire department.
So what are your highest hopes for this festival in May? I know you said you've been getting asked, is it going to be an annual thing? It's probably too soon to tell. But what are your thoughts about that?
I think our goal is to make sure that it's a safe and fun event the first year, but looking forward that this is something that can be in Charlotte for a long time, 20, 25 years. People can talk about it with their kids, and people will invite all their friends. But this weekend is the weekend that you come to Charlotte and check everything out, because Lovin Life is, considered on the national level with the festivals like Bottle Rock and Lollapalooza. And I think Charlotte can do it. And I think the lineup we put up can do it. I hope that the city of Charlotte can really be positively affected by it in all the ways that we spoke about, and that everybody can hopefully high tide rises all ships, from the business side, from the music side, from the reputation side, from the visitors and tourist side, that, if we can have a small effect on all those in Charlotte, we would really, consider ourselves a success. And the only way it's going to happen is Charlotte, comes out. And so far they have, and, we love the city of Charlotte, and we do anything for it. And I think we're getting it right back from the city of Charlotte. And that's a humbling thing, an exciting thing. And so we'll see how it goes, but hopefully we're here for a long time.
All right, great. I'm a sucker for a full circle moment. And I've heard that Dixie's Tavern, one of the bars in Uptown that you used to own and operate, it has a little bit of a footprint on this music festival. Can you tell us about that?
It does. Exciting. We were in there for 15 years and really had a great run with that bar and restaurant. They did a contest on the best bars in Charlotte, and they did sort of like a 64 March Madness tournament, and Dixie's Tavern won. So I know it really means a lot to the people. And so for this festival, it'll be our will call. So people will be able to go back into that place, where we really got our start. My office and Rob's offices were right upstairs for 12 years. So it really is where we cut our teeth on everything. And the location of the local stage is the same location of where the Gravediggers Ball stage started, where the Backstreet Boys played, where Katy Perry played, and where the Violent Femmes played. So for us, it is, kind of special. And, we stood out there, Rob and I, and like, wow, think back 20 years ago, and here we are today. So that's, special for us.
Well, I think that's a great place to end it. Bob, thanks so much for joining us.
Lindsay, thanks for having us, and we'll see you at Lovin Life.
To our listeners, thanks for listening. You can find out more about the Charlotte Ledger by going to thecharlotteledger.com. This episode was presented by South Park Community Partners, a nonprofit who leads South Park's advancement by driving economic vitality, creating memorable experiences, and ensuring an extraordinary quality of life.
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.